Hello and welcome to Show Up, Stand Out, online visibility expert series for entrepreneurs. We are here and yes, we are not playing by the rules. We said a minute silence and then we couldn't hold it in. So I'm here today.
I did this last time too.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, last time was exactly the same. I said, Eddie, don't say anything for a minute. And then the next moment you started talking. Guys, if you don't know my guest today, I can't believe you because I'm here with Eddie Smith himself, the Instagram genius, the Instagram guru, Yoda, or whatever you can call him, but he really does know Instagram. So all these titles, they're all well deserved. Eddie, welcome to my show. I'm so glad, so glad. Eddie is a very good friend of mine, and this is a very special thing for me, is to talk about what we do, to talk about our thing, but actually we're really just connecting. We're just using this as an excuse to connect.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. The first time we had a conversation, I was having a really bad day. My tire had blown out, and I was just like, let me get to a Starbucks. Let me get this. And Julia, we had never really spoken or met. We just kind of did it, and the vibe was so awesome. And we became great friends after that. And I'm so blessed and thankful to have you as a friend and honored to be back on your show. Except for Fearless Client Attraction, I mean, what are we now? Is that...
Yeah, well, the show is called Show Up, Stand Out. Last time when you were on my show, we had the easy chats, which were just the chats about, you know, how we are as entrepreneurs and what's in our heads and what's in our minds. Whereas now I'm talking more about online visibility strategies and different things. So whatever my guest, and today's you're my guest, I'm going to pick your brain, and I'm so delighted because you have so much to say. Of all people, I mean, I have great guests, but you know, today it's just going to be really, really awesome, guys, because I've been watching Eddie, and this is so funny that he mentioned Starbucks and, you know, bad day, and then I think you froze as well on my show there a couple of times.
Yeah, we froze halfway through.
You were just like, yeah, it was kind of like all shambolic, but it was brilliant as well, because actually the change that happens in your life since then, and you were already en route sort of to where you are, to success, but the change that happened is absolutely amazing, and I'm so privileged to watch you every day and see what you're doing and see how you are just growing just like that, you know, in every aspect, and I'm so delighted to just be part of it, even remotely from Ireland. But it's really brilliant to watch you, and I just get inspired, you know. I think that you have a bad influence on me. I think that I'm not doing enough. You put me to
crazy.
shame. I know. Okay, well look, Eddie, just for those people, like for the one person who randomly comes to this video and they don't know who you are, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, comment, smash that love button, smash it, share it, everything, because your friends, your family, and your colleagues need to see this. My name is Eddie Smith, aka the Hustle Junkie. A lot of you guys know me as an Instagram expert. Some of you know me as a business coach. Other of you know me as just some crazy dude that goes live every day, right? But in a nutshell, I am a hustle junkie. I love to work, but I love to get results the most. Instagram-wise, I'm able to organically scale and monetize accounts very quickly, and I teach that through my Instagram Growth Hacks Marketing Masterclass. I also have a business coaching business where I help entrepreneurs get to where they want to be in terms of visibility, monetizing their brand, building their brand, just helping them go from right here to up here. Because myself, I just quit my job last year in May 2017. I made just about every mistake that a beginner entrepreneur could make, and there were months where I wasn't making any money. Well, I was making money, but that money, you know, my expenses were going out. I wasn't going to get enough back in, and I had my phone turned off and everything, and it was just a struggle. And I wish I'd had somebody that was there to kind of pick me up. And so I've made that my mission to free 50 entrepreneurs this year from the 9-to-5 slave trade, because there's no need for us to be relying and building somebody else's dreams when we can build our own. And since I did that last year, I'm paying it forward and doing it now.
This is awesome. Well, you know what? I agree with you. You don't have to build somebody else's dream. That's what stopped me from seeking employment when I started my business here. And it wasn't always rosy. You know, there were times when, you know, you're saying, okay, I just lost all my, you know, big clients, and how am I going to pay the bills? But when you have started that journey, sometimes it's very difficult to go back to 9 to 5, because you are making somebody else's dreams a reality.
Yep.
And you have this energy, and you have all the resources you need inside you. You do need all you need is really is focus. You know, there is a couple. Well, Eddie, you posted something earlier today that I shared, but there was a really good kind of breakdown. So maybe you could just remind us, like, what are the ingredients in this when you are from where you start and it's all confusing and dark and you don't know what's happening, to where you are now. So what are the mindset shifts involved in this?
Definitely. It's actually something that I think every entrepreneur should know. So if you're out there, you're watching this, get your pen, get your pad, and be prepared to take some notes, right? Because this is influencer or business building 101. I call it manifesting, dream making, whatever. It doesn't matter. But step one in this process is to identify what your goal is and set your sights on it so intensely, so focused that it's a vision, right? You could hold it in your hand. That's how intense this vision is, right? Like, it's real life. It's already happened. You need to write that down. All right. And so for me, I want to be a leader. I want to be a thought leader. I'm going to be. I am. Top-notch business person. So how am I going to win a Nobel Peace Prize? How am I going to become this thought leader? You know, I had to break down the steps backwards. All right. And so once I did that, and I had the vision and I had the steps worked out backwards, step by step by step, going down, I knew what step one was. And step one was to become of an authority or of an influence or an expert, a guru, whatever, genius, whatever the word or the term that you think of when you think of somebody that you respect in a specific niche or industry. I had to think of something that I could enter the marketplace and dominate, right? Domination is the name of the game. And so the crucial part about this is that you've got to think about something that's going to be relevant for the next 2 to 5 years. If you're playing the game today, you're already behind, because the top business leaders, the top marketers, they're thinking 2 to 5 years ahead, right? So you've got to be thinking 2 to 5 years ahead, and you need to position yourself to become an authority for those 2 to 5 years, right? You need to ride that wave, because once it's over, or you're just getting in when it's just getting started, you're missing out. Don't let that dissuade you from jumping in on the platforms, right? Like, I missed out on the great Facebook revolution, but it doesn't matter because I'm still playing the game. But in terms of Instagram, where I decided to jump in, it was new, it was hot, and I knew that I could capitalize on it for the next 2 to 5 years if I played my cards right. So for 2 years, I worked in mastering Instagram, and I did it, right? You know, I'm able to successfully grow and scale and monetize Instagram accounts. People look at me as an authority, and I have an audience now because of that. People respect me, and they look at me as somebody that can help them get from point A to point Z in their process. So that's really what you need to do in the beginning, right? So that was step one. Step two was a little bit trickier, because then it's turning that skill set into a monetized business, a profitable business, right? And so a lot of people fumble from step one to step two. They become good at something, or they're already good at something, but then they're struggling monetizing. That's where I come in my business coaching, right? Because I've already mastered Instagram. I've already become profitable at it, but a lot of entrepreneurs, they're falling in between those steps. And so I'm helping to pick them up from having a skill to monetizing that skill. So that's step two, is monetizing that authority or that skill that you just picked up. From there, step three for me was to become a business coach, right? Because my background is in sales and marketing. I've been in sales and marketing for the last 14 years. I'm 28 years old. I started off in the school newspaper. Every job that I've ever held has either been in sales, marketing, or advertising, right? I've owned other businesses, brick and mortar businesses, and I've helped other people, friends, family, etc., start their own profitable businesses. The only problem was I didn't even know that an online business coach was something that existed until I quit hating social media, which we talked about in our first interview, and started embracing it. Because either you're using social media or social media is using you. Regardless if you're on Facebook or not, if you're on Instagram or not, you're hearing about it. And so you're either using it or it's using you. So if you're on Facebook all day, you best be getting paid for it, all right? That's just the way it is because someone else is. From there, after you've kind of locked in on each step, because when you're on a step, you can't be thinking too far ahead. Like you've got this end goal and you've worked it backwards, but you can't be looking at the end goal because if you do that, you're looking at Mount Everest, and of course it's huge. Mount Everest, how am I going to climb that? But you can't just look at the peak. You got to look at it platform by platform, you know, and think about the milestones that you need to reach along the way to get to the peak. And eventually you're halfway up the mountain and you're looking up and oh, that's not that much further. And you get encouragement and you keep going, right? It's about those small victories along the way. So the first victory was mastering Instagram for me. The next victory was getting paid by Instagram. I was able to quit my job in May of 2017. After that, it was getting back to what my passion was because, yeah, I can be a sales and marketing expert. I've been profitable in every sales job and marketing job that I ever had. But what's the niche specific? What are people, no one cares about sales and marketing. They do, but they don't. Everybody is so broad and vague. So then I got back to, since I had the audience and the respect and the authority, I got back to what the business was, back to the basics for me and what I'm truly an expert at, right? Sales and marketing. Each time I'm just focusing on what I'm working on right now, tunnel vision, and then having that sight, that foresight, this is what's next. Always position myself for what's next. So what's next for me is getting more live speaking gigs, online speaking gigs, doing more interviews, and growing my influence that way. Because from there, if I'm going to become a thought leader, if I'm going to win a Nobel Peace Prize, I'm going to change the world, I need to have a voice. And so to be able to build that voice up, you have to be going to events, you have to be speaking and delivering value and being a man or a woman or a person of influence. And so that means you need to constantly grow, focus, and live life the right way. And so that's really what I strive to do. It's a lot of knowing where you want to go, figuring out the steps, and then working step by step. And then it doesn't seem so difficult. A lot of the people that I work with, they talk about confidence, and that's a critical, crucial part of the, you know, whole process. You've got to be confident in yourself to make good decisions, confident in yourself that your vision is going to materialize, right? The minute you start to doubt yourself, the minute you start to have negative thoughts, because thoughts are things, you're going to manifest negativity and you're going to attract to you what you don't want to happen. Just staying clear-minded. I don't hang out with many people. I hang out with people online that are like-minded. You know, if you're bringing negativity or you're not growing or striving for greatness, you know, I don't want to associate with you. It's really just about being obsessed with success and engulfing yourself into your business. Because success, I'm going to tell you, it's not just a destination, it's a lifestyle. And it's extremely deliberate. I'm going to say that again. Success is extremely deliberate and it's duplicatable. So find some people that can teach you. Find some people that have done what you want to do. Don't completely make yourself a carbon copy clone of them, but emulate the key points of each person that you want to become. And then become that, but be you. And that's the biggest thing that I can stress is everything you do, be yourself, because you're the most amazing person in the world. You just don't realize it yet. You have a valuable message. You have a valuable skill set, right? You're amazing. You've just got to understand that everything you need is already inside of you. You've just not unlocked it. It's caged up. And so once you let that wild animal out, you're like, ah! World change before your eyes. It's like seeing the world in HD, I swear. And that's really what the last 12 months have been for me. In February 2017, I had my worst month of my life. You know, I hit my rock bottom. By May, I had completely decided I'm not doing this 9-to-5 thing anymore. By October, I'd fired all my clients from my first business, which is an agency. And by November, I was having 10K months, right? So 5-figure months. That's how quickly your life can change if you put in the work, the effort, and the consistency. You have that drive and that focus and that vision to really make anything it is that you want to happen.
That is so true. And actually, let me bring you back to where we spoke. Was that September? Something like September,
yeah.
Maybe.
It was right after my first masterclass, Instagram Marketing Masterclass.
Right. So what date was that?
It was in September.
September, all right. Well, so from September to now, I'm like talking to two different people. Now, there's the same core and there's the same Eddie behind that, but you have completely changed. But my question to you, and I think that our audience would appreciate that, is was there, like, when did you either make a decision or when did you know something had to change? Was it something that was gradual, or was it like you woke up or something happened and you said, no, I am just... How did you change from Eddie who hates social media and like a victim to my circumstances to Eddie, the owner of my life? Was it a day decision?
Looking at myself in the mirror and hating the person I'd become, hitting rock bottom and knowing that it was my own fault, not living the life that I knew I deserved, and realizing that I had been settling. You know, I'm a really reflective, introverted person. A lot of people are like, you're introverted, you go live, this and that. But I'm extremely introverted. I live in my brain. And just replaying, like, my life, and I'm thinking, you know, it was like a virus. You know, imagine our bodies or our brains as, like, computers, right? And when you're born and you're growing up, you know, you're a brand new computer or laptop or MacBook out of the package. And it's just a squeaky clean system. There's no viruses. You haven't downloaded any music. There's no programs, right? It's running fast. And then you give it some programs and some software, start downloading some music, and everything's still good, right? So imagine it's being like between the ages like 5 and 18. And then slowly you start downloading more and downloading more and downloading more. And then eventually you get a virus, right? And this virus, you don't realize it's even there at first. And so you start off and you're like, the sky's the limit. I can become whatever I want to do. You know, that lie that everybody tells us, but they really don't mean it, right? I can become whatever I want to. This and that, to being like, oh, well, you need to go to college, get a good job, and settle. That's basically what they're teaching us from ages 5 to 18. And so I went from this boy that had all these grandiose dreams of becoming an anthropologist or becoming a president or, you know, doing these amazing things to like this carbon copy clone that I need to go to college, get a good degree, get married, and settle, right? And so I did that. And it wasn't until I hit rock bottom in February 2017 that I realized, like, whoa, what am I doing with myself? You know? And so for 2-3 weeks, the first 2-3 weeks of February, I don't even think I said more than maybe, you know, 100 words a day. And I was sulking. I was depressed and frustrated and angry and all these different negative emotions. And then I woke up one day and I told my gram, I said, I don't care what I have to do. I don't care how late I have to stay, if I early have to wake up because I'm still working a full-time job. I don't care about a social life. I don't care about any of my friends. I don't care about anything besides becoming successful, quitting my job, and making this work. And she's like, okay, you know, like, whatever, like, let's see you do it, you know, one of those things. And I was like, all right, you know, and so I went to work. I put my hard hat on and I hustled. You know, I was up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, woke up again at 7, you know, went to work all day, did it all over again. And I was just doing that day in and day out. And a lot of people joke, you know, they're like, do you ever sleep? And I've been sleeping more recently, but in a lot of ways, like, I'll sleep when I made it or when I'm dead. Hopefully, I make it before I die. But, you know, if you really want something, you're not going to make excuses. You're going to look for opportunities, right? There's 2 O words, obstacles and opportunities. Which O word you're focusing on is going to determine if you're successful or not. I focus on opportunities because every obstacle has an opportunity.
That's
if you can solve that obstacle for others, that's called an opportunity. And that's where you make money. It's where you change the world, and that's where you change lives, especially your own.
Yeah, that's so true. And you know what else as well that I've noticed in life? When you hit that bottom, it might not be like complete bottom. You think that you hit the bottom and it's hard. But that actually is a good sign for you that you're growing. And that's a good time to take action. That's a good time when you're feeling down, when it feels uncomfortable. That's when you are growing. So take that energy and don't go down with it. Don't like drown in that quicksand. This is where you're feeling that resistance because something is happening and you're being pushed forward. So I always I always notice in myself that the worst times when I feel horrible and I feel maybe I'm stuck, but actually I know I'm not stuck. It's going to be amazing. This is just that resistance that you're just moving at such a speed in that momentum. You don't even have time to realize it in your brain that you are moving forward, and it could be moving forward a decision to take control over your life. It could be just something as simple as like a momentary decision, but it's what you just said. You can just change. You can change what you decide to do. You can, past is past, future hasn't happened, and right now you can change what you're focusing on and what you decide to be. And whatever you are right now is all up to how you think you are.
It's so true. You can manifest whatever life you want or you don't want. The choice is yours, right? So I rather focus on what I can control, and that's my actions, that's my growth. Nothing ever happens in your comfort zone. So when I feel fear, I do it anyways, right? Because it's fun. It's like an adrenaline rush, seeing things happen so quickly. And when you got to think on your feet and on your toes, and you gotta actually be critical of your decision making and how is this going to affect that? That's when my brain starts to churn, right? And it's exciting because you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
Why live a miserable life, right? I think so many of you guys out there that are watching, and I don't care if you get offended if this is you or not, then you need a fucking wake-up call. Excuse my language. You're addicted to pain. You're addicted to being miserable, and you're addicted to the life that you hate. Why? Because you have the power to change it, and you don't. You rather sit there, bitch, moan, and complain, watch television, go out on the weekends and drink, be social, have friends. You want that more than you want to be successful. And then when you see other people do it, you call them sellouts, right? They're not sellouts because they chose to live a life. You know what they're selling out for? They're selling out for success because they're tired of living like you. They're tired of being unhappy, being overweight, being broke, right? Being broke is a mindset. So you can either be broke or you can be prosperous, right? But the key is to be rich in life, rich in happiness, and rich in money.
That's right. And richness and money, they actually come to you. It comes to you when you're happy inside. The moment you turn that feeling of lack into feeling of content and abundance and happiness, that's where everything starts flowing back like by magic. So really it's up to you. And yes, I know how hard it is when you're soaking in a negative emotion or you're soaking in that confusion, but you are just soaking in it, so you can just get out. It's your own choice. Yeah, I don't feel bad for people that are miserable because you're making yourself miserable.
That's right. If anything, I want to stay away from you with a 10-foot pole. Don't even come into my bubble.
I'm actually the same. I surround myself with people who are successful. I do not want to surround myself with people who are miserable. And when if I find myself I'm miserable, I go to those people because I know just one conversation will bring me back. Just one little, right. Because these are the people with great energies. They're in a good place. I know that I just need to make that contact. We did that before, didn't we, as well? I'd be calling you like, oh, I don't know what's going on. You're like, you'll be fine. You got it. And then I'll hang up. I'm like, I got it. Okay, let's do it. That's all I need. So, okay, well, look, let's talk a little bit. I promised my audience we're going to talk about something to do with viral content. So I think we should do it. Let's do it. So I saw an amazing live you did recently where you dropped some serious golden nuggets about how to post viral content. Would you be so kind to tell us a little bit more about it?
Of course. All right. Again, if you got those pen and pads ready, this is about to be some serious content, right? So a lot of people think that it's extremely difficult to grow large audiences and to go quote unquote viral. But it's a lot simpler than you think because all the content is already out there. You've just got to find it, repurpose it, or create your own that's modeled after it, right? And so how can you do this? You pay attention first off. You do some research. Yes, it's going to take some work. You're going to have to do some research. But first and foremost, you've got to think about the niche that you want to get into and the audience that's going to be attracted to that niche. So you've got to be really dialed down into your targeting and who your target market is and what they're interested in. You've got to know them as well as you know your best friend, your spouse, your significant other, whoever it is. You've got to know them, their name, how old they are, where they hang out, all that stuff. You need to know your target audience, right? Once you know your target audience, you'll know what niche you need to target. Once you found the niche that you need to target, you need to find the hottest, most viral content in that niche. So if you've got a website, you're doing drop shipping, you're blogging, this, that, and the other thing, you need to follow the same formula that all these major media companies are doing, right? Huffington Post, CNN, BuzzFeed, etc., so on and so forth, right? They're all posting the same articles with the same pictures, with the same credits, in the same words. Do you think that's an accident? No, it's a design. What did I say earlier? Success is extremely deliberate and duplicatable, right? So you need to find the hottest articles that are being talked about on the internet. Go on Google and Google it, you know, in that niche, and you'll find the best articles. Take the picture, take the article, credit it properly, boom. You just got yourself a viral article. And how do you know it's viral? Because there's 10 fucking pages on it on Google. It's not rocket science, right? Same thing goes for Instagram. Find something that's going viral on Instagram over and over and over again. Guess what? If you post it on Instagram, you feed it the right kind of traffic, odds are it's going to go viral. Same thing on Facebook. Same thing on YouTube, right? If you don't want to use somebody else's content, then look at what the viral content is and do your best to duplicate it. People, you're overthinking this. Success is extremely deliberate and duplicatable, right? Simple sells. And so for you to have viral content, you've got to understand what viral is, right? Viral is anything that's being seen by a lot of eyeballs, 100,000, 200,000, a million people plus. And then you've got to be able to repurpose it and create it time and time and time again. Is it going to take research? Of course. Is it going to be perfect right away? No. But if you refine that skill, like for me on Instagram, I can go on my phone, I can open up the Instagram app, I can go onto the explore page, scroll, just look at content, and know that's going to go viral on my page or not, because I know my audience, because I've put the time in over the last 2 years to be able to identify that. That's what it's all about, becoming a professional, right? You've got to be a professional. I think, what is it, 10,000 hours of practice in anything and you're an expert? So are you going to put in the 10,000 hours to become an expert or a professional in your field? If you want to be successful, you will, and you will find the time.
That's right. There's always time. Having no time is absolutely an excuse. And as well, I think that what stops people sometimes is that they think that this is because they are not really good right now. They feel like they shouldn't be doing it, or it's too hard or anything. But the only way you get that good is by practicing. So that's what Eddie is just saying, you know. So it's the same. It comes in basically in every area. Some people are afraid to do Facebook lives. Yeah. So they're afraid that they don't look well. It's like, I always laugh because I say, do you live in one room and you talk through a hole, you know, in the wall to people and nobody ever sees you? No. And so what's different? We see each other exactly the same way. We sound exactly the same way. You talk to your friends, you can talk to people online. It's exactly the same thing. You're overthinking it, you know. And yes, you might be little bit, you know, you will be more fluent in 6 months time, or even maybe in 2 weeks, because it depends. Some people just open up and it just flows out of them. You know, you can be so good in 2 weeks, and now you're thinking, I can't do this. And it's the same with this, you know, just go and try it. And it's not going to be from the very first post, it's going to go viral. That's what I think people kind of have this expectation.
When you become good, though, it can.
Yeah.
When you become good enough, I could create a brand new Instagram right now.
But you have experience, right?
Exactly. That when you become good enough, you've got to put in the work to do it.
That's right. That's right. So don't be expecting overnight success, because it is work, you know. But it can be enjoyable work. It can be hard, but you can enjoy it.
And if you are going to expect overnight success, you better be willing to work the night shift. I don't want to hear about you sleeping 8 hours a night if you want to become an overnight success. Because guess what? Overnight success comes working the graveyard.
That's true. That's true. I personally don't believe in an overnight success, but you can within a couple of months. You really, really can, you know. But it just depends on how much you put effort into it. But of course, guys, we're not saying just go and burn yourself out. You need to make sure that you relax. How do you unwind? I know that couple of months ago, I remember you sent me the picture of your calendar. Juliet, this is what I do. I was like, oh my God, he sleeps 4 hours. I'll be divorced. My husband wouldn't allow me to stay up and but I found my own way that really inspired me to have like a really good blocks, and then I have at 7 o'clock, I just wind down. I get off screens. I relax. I read a book. What do you do to unwind?
I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with unwinding. I have been putting more effort and time and attention to it because I was sleeping like 1 to 4 hours a night there for a good stretch. But like you said, you don't want to burn out. A lot of different factors. I listen to my body the most. I know what my body needs, when it needs more rest, when it needs less rest, or whatever. But in terms of winding down, I love to work out, right? You've got to stay mind, body, and soul, physically active. You want to be healthy. So working out is a great way for me to unwind, decompress, unstress, and to get my best ideas, get the blood flowing, the brain cells going. I read audiobooks. I've started reading physical books, like paperback books, more often. But the biggest thing is like working out, whiteboarding. I know that sounds so ass backwards, but it just helps me get my thoughts out. Journaling, manifesting, setting intentions.
Yeah, whatever you find, doodling or whiteboarding or whatever, this is all types of mindfulness. That's what people sometimes misunderstand. It's not that you are still working. You are actually switching off. Switching between tasks is how your brain rests too, so you can, and that's how you can be very, very productive. So
hanging out with my daughter, just things like that.
Yeah, well, that's probably that's the best way to unwind. The love, as well. I have the family, and we have the movie nights, and we have the dog that's always on top of us, and he's so lovely, and he snuffles, and it's just, it's such an amazing way to just let go of all the worries, and there's no problems at all.
Yeah, love, the greatest drug in the world, right?
But I think it's very important because, yes, we had this conversation. Some people like yourself, sometimes your body doesn't need too much sleep, and that's okay. Einstein only slept 3 hours a night as well. It's a well-known fact. And I also listen to my body as well. So if I'm really wide awake at night, I do prefer to getting up and doing stuff, because I know the next morning I might be a little bit more tired, so I'm more productive now. Just do it, your body. Yeah. But you also do listen to your body when you're tired, and you need to say, look, I have to take a day off, I have to take some time off, because you can get burnt out, and this is that kind of, and especially if you're on social media for wrong reasons sometimes. A lot of people are on social media, but they're not actually making money, or they're not doing anything that will bring them money or, success. And they're just pointlessly scrolling through, newsfeed, going to groups that actually are not doing anything for you, that kind of networking. Peers are cheering up, but actually nothing is happening. Your bank account is still nowhere,
Right.
So this is something that, I find that was one of the revelations in last year when I realized, hang on a second, I am hanging out more than I'm doing. Then I started doing more. I stopped hanging out, and so some group owners are saying to me, Juliet, where did you go? Well, there is time for doing. So you have to keep doing stuff, and you have to look for opportunities, right? Like we were just talking.
Exactly.
Right. Well, look, I thought that thank you so much. That was a brilliant conversation. We covered so much more than just viral stuff, guys. I just lured you in so we can talk about Eddie's transformation and things behind, how did he do it? So I think that you gave us literally a blueprint, what to do and how to approach success, which is the most important. It's all about the attitude, isn't it? And the mindset behind things, even rather than what exactly. A lot of people say, I don't have a direction. What's stopping you? I have questions in my group. What's stopping you? Lack of direction. But sure, you can create your direction if you just decide, okay, what do I need to do? Sit down, write down, and then act on it. That's your direction. There is no right or wrong in an online business. There is only testing and trying things. And if they don't work out, you try something else. Right? Okay, Eddie, anything you can tell our audience before we wrap up? Any kind of the last word of advice? Well, not last because you're going to come back to me, but the last for tonight.
Basically, don't be afraid, don't be scared, and don't let that put you in neutral or stop, right? Take your foot off the brake, put the car in drive, and go forward. If you don't know where you're going, you'll figure it out along the way. But remember, it's a lot easier to get from point A to point Z when you have a roadmap. So create that roadmap. Know where your destination is, right? Know where you're going. Know what the checkpoints are, the milestones. Mark them off. Write them down. And then just go. And be fearless in doing it. Don't put your foot on the brake. Slam that gas pedal down and speed through it at 100 miles per hour. And before you know it, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, you know, where am I? When did this happen? You're going to wake up and it's going to feel surreal. You're going to want to pinch yourself. But that's going to be your life. And that's amazing. 12 months ago, I was living, you know, in complete shame. I was at my lowest points. Fast forward 12 months later, I'm sitting in the United Kingdom for the third time since January 8th. I'm traveling, making money. I'm living life on my terms. I don't have a boss. You know, I just got a 3-bedroom house for my daughter and I was living at my ex's grandma's house. My entire life has changed because I burnt the boat. I tore down the bridges. I went at 100 miles per hour and I didn't look back. I stayed forward thinking, focused, and working on what my dreams, goals, and ambitions were. And that's what you need to do.
Awesome. That's awesome. And guys, for those of you who's driving the manual car gear with manual gears, do not drive in the first or second gear. Go into the fifth if you're doing that 100 miles an hour. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We had a few comments. I didn't read them. I was just so engrossed in what Eddie was saying, but I hope you can forgive me. And if you have any questions for Eddie, definitely pop them in the comments and he will come back and answer them later. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. I had an amazing time. Thank you so much, Eddie, and hopefully we will be back together soon and we'll do something awesome.
You know it.
Guys, I will see you in the next episode. And Eddie, thank you so much and have a great day.
You as well. Like, share, and comment. Smash that love button, baby.
Bye.
Bye.